Hi. The more I study this thing called retirement, the more I realise what a terrific run I've had. So many people, it seems, go through this feeling of angst, disappointment, frustration. What am I going to do now in retirement? That didn't happen to me. I had a pretty smooth run, really. There's supposedly the honeymoon phase, everybody's enthusiastic about what I'm going to do when I retire, go on a big holiday, go on a world trip, etc. I didn't go through that at all. Didn't even occur to me. Then, of course, there's the second phase. Oh, it's terrible. What am I going to do now? And that's the dangerous phase where people become really disillusioned and so forth. Even suicidal, maybe. My life's over. What am I going to do now? Etc. I didn't go through that either. And there's a reason for it, I think. And I'd like to talk about that in this particular video. Now, I started work early. In my younger days, people often did. I started work the day after my 15th birthday. And I worked till I was almost just a month shy of 59. 44 years in the workforce. A vast variety of jobs, most of them in telecommunication. But I did move around a bit. Moving around, even going from one country to another for short periods of time, a year here, 2 years there, 3 years there. You get used to changes, making new friends, starting new things. And I think a lot of people don't go through that. They stay in the same job for a long time. A friend of mine, now retired, only had one job in his whole life. Started as an apprentice, worked his way up to be a tradesman, stayed on, went on to management, and then retired. One particular occupation all his life. And now he's lost. That didn't happen to me. As I said, I started work at 15 and retired just before the 59th birthday. So what enabled me to have this so-called smooth ride compared with so many? Let me tell you, it's not a big secret. I just kept doing some of the things which I'd been doing all of my life. The habitual things I've developed in my late 20s, early 30s, and realised they are essential to have a happy life. And I just kept them going. And even when I moved from one country to another, if I could keep them going, I did. So what are these things? Way back in 1972, at the age of 36, I joined my first Toastmasters club. Learned how to speak to audiences in public. Now, a Toastmasters environment is a very friendly environment. I stayed in the first club until I moved. I joined in New Zealand, stayed in that club and came across to Australia, transferred to another club. And over the years, I've retained my membership as a Toastmaster member. Not always in the same club, sometimes belonging to one club, 2 clubs, 3, even 4 at a time. At the moment, I'm in 2 clubs and have been for a number of years. So, what does this mean? It means I've got friends around me with similar interests, people I've known for years, and people who come and go into those clubs. Lots of friends passing through, some staying longer than others, some staying for a very long time. So there's that side of it. The other thing I started to do was to go out to speak to groups, because I enjoy storytelling to groups. I started that in 1982. And I still do it, not to the same extent that I used to. At one stage I was doing about 60 presentations a year, talking to groups for maybe 50, 60, 100, 200, sometimes 300 people at a time, and loving it, researching my stories and telling those stories. So public speaking and storytelling is a big part that I've kept going the whole time. What are the other things? I started training at a gym at the age of 20, and I realised that I wanted to build myself up, become athletic and strong, which is what I did. And it enabled me to get good jobs. My telecommunications experience enabled me to become an Antarctic expeditioner at one stage, probably a high point in my life. How many people get that opportunity? And then, of course, the other thing was writing. I love writing, creative writing. In my earlier days, I wrote short stories, poems, essays, letters to friends. I still do that. So these things I'm talking about here, creative writing, speaking to audiences, going to the gym, keeping fit, have been continuous in my life. So when I retired, I just kept them going. So what's my point here for you? If you are watching this, you're thinking about coming up for retirement, or maybe you're already retired, get into some habits that are going to sustain you for the rest of your life. Keep fit, go to the gym, be healthy, do yoga stretches, involve yourself in some sort of club activity, a group activity where you have friends of similar interests. That will involve doing things that you love to do, that you would do just for the sake of doing them. Don't think about profit margins and things here. Think about doing what you love and loving what you do, and doing it with people around you who love to do the same things. If you can do that, you can work that into your life, you will have a long and happy retirement. To reiterate, keep fit, keep the mind going, have good occupations that infuse you, that you love to do, that you do for fun. And if you do those things, and you do them as well, keep them up, I think that you'll have a long and happy retirement.